Well, what you're talking about, Peter, is that most people have never retired. So in my mind, you get one shot at it and you got to get it right.
Always great to be joined by Tim Stearns, CFP, with a tip of the week and strategies for proactive planners. Tim, we appreciate the time. What is your financial tip of the week reminder for those savers and investors?
Peter, my tip of the week with the markets roiling in every which direction is, diversify beyond the 640 rule. Traditional models may not fit today's rules or what's going on in your world, and you need to make sure that you get it just right for you.
Tim, the 60-40 rule is that age-old diversification model, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket, except we've seen this fail as of late.
Right. We've seen a lot of people are going way hard in stocks, and you need to be careful of doing that.
Well, again, the tip of the week, ladies and gentlemen, you may want to diversify beyond that traditional asset allocation, the 60-40 rule for diversification. So Tim Stearns, CFP, founder at TJ Stearns Inc., home of the Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint, here each week, giving you that tip of the week, as well as proactive advice for savers and investors. And Tim, today, looking at and reminding savers and investors that we are nearing year end. It is time for those proactive planners to execute on some last minute and year end tax strategies.
Peter, it is that time of the year. And, right now, people are being reactive. We're trying to be proactive planning with our tax strategies. So this is the time that we try to tell our clients, let's get a hold of it and figure out where we're going.
Taxes don't go away in retirement, Tim. They just change shape. And especially for the first few years of retirement, a lot of kind of figuring the new setup out, right? Because we might have 1 year where we're fully employed, 1 year where it's kind of half and half, 1 year where it's full retirement, and then income starts being produced from different places that we've never drawn it before.
Well, what you're talking about, Peter, is that most people have never retired. So in my mind, you get one shot at it and you got to get it right.
So understanding your tax brackets and your tax buckets, very important, Tim.
Exactly. We always ask people when we sit down with them, are you tax diversified? And a lot of them look at us like, what are you talking about? And we're talking about, do you have a taxable uh, bucket, which is like brokerage accounts, your savings account, CDs, that type of thing? Do you have a tax deferred account, which would be your traditional 401ks and IRAs? And then lastly, our favorite bucket, which would be tax free, your Roth IRAs, muni bonds, tax value life insurance.
Tim, we started off the program talking about diversify beyond the traditional 60-40 rule with your tip of the week. Is there a rule of thumb for how we should be tax diversified?
Well, I think the simple answer there is let's pay less than we need to. And we try to do that. To mitigate taxes is so important in retirement.
Reducing taxes means you get to keep more of your money. I think that's a goal for every retiree, right? Produce as much income as we can, pay as little in taxes as possible.
Right, Peter. And I don't know anyone, regardless of party affiliation, who likes to pay more than their fair share of taxes. And if they can legally cut down their taxes, they're all on board.
And tax guidance, Tim, is that avoidance is not evasion, right? We can avoid paying taxes. That's not against the law. Tax evasion obviously is.
We don't have to be the proverbial lemmings and follow everyone else over the cliff. We can actually try to, slow down what they're charging us in taxes by looking at doing things like Roth conversions or even charitable gifting, using those more strategically.
Tim, we need to time those Roth conversions strategically. While many do believe that converting to Roth is a significant long-term benefit, it does come with some potential tax consequences. Number one, we have to pay tax on those dollars when we convert them.
A lot of people don't understand that. You'd be surprised how many very well educated people come in here and don't understand that that dollar in their 401k is not all theirs. The government's going to take their fair share. The good news is in the state of Illinois, we don't tax it state-wise, but we do, federally, you're going to be taxed. And usually it's at least 20%.
Tim, are there any proactive strategies to offset or minimize the hit that we will take when doing a Roth conversion?
Well, one of them would be, making sure that you fill up your total and 12% tax bracket. Taxes, we've talked about this time and time again. Taxes are the lowest they've been since the early 1980s when many baby boomers were just getting into their careers. This is actually a great time to be doing Roth conversions.
If you're missing any dollars in that 12% bracket, you're missing opportunities.
Always. The great Ed Slott, who's on PBS all the time, says, don't ever leave a 12% uh, tax bracket unfilled.
And I believe even expanded on that, that getting dollars out of a retirement account at 25% or less is a deal.
Right. I mean, and that's a tough pill for most to swallow, but unfortunately, Ed's right.
Yeah. Tim, another proactive tip. A lot of savers, a lot of investors have gains that have built up in non-qualified accounts. And now's the time to look at that before the end of the year.
Exactly. And you want to make sure you're harvesting gains versus losses. You can offset the $3,000 of ordinary income annually, and you can also carry forward the unused losses indefinitely. So why not do that?
Tim, this is the time of year that if we have turned 73 in this year, or we are already 73 or older, and if we have not yet taken that required minimum distribution, here is your reminder, ladies and gentlemen. Tim, why is it so important that we follow these rules and do meet this deadline? And in fact, not just a deadline, but start early in this process.
Well, you don't want to leave any money. If you're turning 73 this year, you could push it off till next year. So, and that's one thing people can do, but I would not recommend that. You think about all the 401k money you have. If you're 73, around 4% of that has to be taken out. So I would say to do with some of it this year, get ahead of it now, and then do the next year's, and not to double them up in the same year. That's important. If you don't take what you're supposed to take out nowadays, it's a 25% penalty. In addition, that goes to your income.
That is a hefty penalty. We already pay enough in tax on those dollars. Adding
Right.
an additional 25% when it's avoidable, certainly something that we want to do, Tim. And then along with those RMDs, if we are charitably inclined, a strategy that a lot of people are not aware of and not aware of when they can start taking advantage of this strategy, Tim, gifting to charity, doing those tithes, those donations to any nonprofit or 501c3 should be done out of your IRA. Can you talk about why and when we can start this process?
Well, you can start that process basically anytime after you're 70. But the important why is so that you don't get taxed on that money that you have to take out. If you're, living well enough off that you can do that, I would take advantage of that. Or if you're used to giving money to your church every year, you know, round out that amount of money and make sure that you're giving it to them through your IRA so that neither of you get taxed on it.
Truly tax-free money. We have very few opportunities for that phrase to apply to us in this life, and this is one of them. Starting at the year that you turn 70 and a half, ladies and gentlemen, up to $100,000, Tim. There's an awful lot of room for large contributions and donations to those charities.
That's right. And again, if you're normally giving money to these charities, why not do it through your IRA? It helps everyone. It helps the charity and it helps yourself so you don't get taxed.
Tim, we also need to think about Social Security and how to coordinate that with taxes and the RMDs and Roth conversions. Everything that we've talked about can impact our Social Security and our Medicare premiums.
Peter, I don't think a lot of people understand how much you should be coordinating, when you're claiming, and that 85% of those Social Security benefits can be taxable depending on the combined income with, like you said, IRAs and all these other different things. So you want to make sure that you don't have poor timing. That can increase both tax bills and Medicare premiums with IRMA.
And Tim, you mentioned that state of Illinois, one area they don't tax the state tax on those IRA distributions. It's an area where Illinois does not apply that state tax. So talk to us about that again. How does that work?
With Illinois, believe it or not, when one area that they don't tax us on is if you are taking money out of your IRAs, 401ks, what have you, there is no state tax. There is always going to be federal tax, but that's one nice thing. That's why you see a lot of people actually staying in Illinois who receive pensions and that type of thing, because the bordering states of Illinois, Wisconsin, and that type of thing, they tax that. So pensions, IRAs. So just one other reason that actually Illinois is good.
Proactive tax planning is more about more than saving a few dollars, right, Tim? It is about being efficient with our money, keeping as much of it as possible. And as we always end each of these segments, reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, that Tim Stearns, CFP, and his team at TJ Stearns, Inc. do put together the Protect and Grow Written Retirement Income Blueprint for you. And if you would like to get yours put together, it includes these kind of proactive strategies for you to be more efficient with your money, how to generate income, how to minimize taxes, and how to address the risks, issues, and opportunities that we will face and see into and throughout retirement. If you would like to take advantage of that, pick up the phone and give TJ Stearns Inc. and Tim Stearns CFP a call, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256, or online, tjstearns.com, tjstearns.com. Tim, we always appreciate your reminder of these important strategies and, of course, the tip of the week.
All right, Peter, thanks for having me.
Tune into Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns' full radio program and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals or growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.